Have you ever had that gut feeling? You know, the one where someone's telling you one thing, but you just feel like there's a whole other conversation happening right under the surface. Well, today, we're going to crack the code on that hidden language, and we're using the playbook of an ex-FBI agent who's an absolute master at reading people. Let's dive in.
It's a question we ask ourselves all the time, right? In a big negotiation, a job interview, maybe even just on a first date. We're always trying to figure out if we're getting the full story. And it turns out the answer is almost always staring us right in the face.
And the key to finding that answer? Well, it starts with this number. Because according to years and years of research, a massive part of how we communicate has nothing to do with words at all. That's right, up to 65% of everything we communicate comes from our body, our posture, our gestures, the little expressions we make. Think about it. Words can be chosen so carefully, they can be edited, they can even be used to lie. But our bodies? Well, they tend to tell a much more honest story.
So if the body is where the truth is, how do we actually learn to read it? Well, for that, we're going to need a guide, a master of the craft, you could say.
And our guide is Joe Navarro. Now, this isn't just some theory from a textbook. This is the real deal. As a former FBI counterintelligence officer, Navarro's job for decades was to spot spies and detect deception when the stakes were incredibly high. He became a world-renowned expert in nonverbal communication, teaching generations of agents how to see the tiny, unconscious clues that reveal what a person is really thinking.
So what's Navarro's secret? Is it some kind of magic trick? Nope, it's biology. It's all about understanding a specific part of your brain that quite literally cannot tell a lie.
Everybody, meet your limbic system. Navarro calls it the honest brain, and for a really good reason. This is the ancient emotional part of our brain that's been wired for one thing: survival. It reacts to the world around us instantly, on reflex, way before our more modern thinking brain has a chance to step in and craft a careful response. It's where our gut feelings come from.
And this honest brain has a very predictable three-step plan whenever it senses a threat. And that threat could be a lion on the savannah or just a really tough question in a meeting. The very first response is always to freeze. We get still, we hold our breath, we try to go unnoticed. If the threat doesn't go away, the brain kicks into flight mode. It starts looking for an escape, a way to create distance. And if escape isn't an option, then the fight response kicks in. These ancient survival instincts are playing out in our body language every single day.
So we get the science, but how do we actually apply this in the real world? Well, Navarro gives us an amazing toolkit, and we're going to zero in on 3 of his most important rules for becoming a better observer.
Okay, first up, and this is absolutely crucial, you have to establish a baseline. You need to know how someone acts normally. Think about it. If your friend is always fidgeting with their hands, then their fidgeting is just normal. It's noise. But if your normally cool as a cucumber boss suddenly starts tapping their foot like crazy, that is a signal. You have to know what's normal to spot what's meaningful.
Second rule, always look for clusters. A single gesture all by itself means pretty much nothing. I mean, someone crossing their arms could just be cold, right? But what if they cross their arms, and they lean away from you, and they purse their lips, and their feet are pointing towards the door? See? Now you've got a cluster. And a cluster of behaviors tells us.
And that brings us to what might be the most powerful rule of them all. Forget trying to memorize 1,000 different gestures. Just simplify everything down to one simple question. Is this person showing signs of comfort, or are they showing signs of discomfort? Are they relaxed, open, and calm, or are they tense, stressed, and anxious? It's a simple little framework that cuts through all the noise and gets right to how that person is genuinely feeling.
All right, so now we have this amazing framework of comfort versus discomfort. But where on the body should we be looking for the most reliable signals? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's probably not where you think.
This right here is one of Navarro's most powerful, game-changing insights. From the time we're little kids, we're taught to control our faces. You know, put on a happy face, don't make that expression. But has anyone ever told you to control what your feet are doing? Nope. And because of that, our lower body is often broadcasting our true feelings loud and clear, even while our face is putting on a polite show. And this picture shows the classic mistake we all make. We're drawn to faces, right? We're trying to read every little micro-expression. But Navarro's big secret is that the most honest, unfiltered information is usually happening completely out of sight, down below, maybe even under the table. So what are the feet actually telling us? Well, when someone is genuinely excited or happy about something, you might see their feet start to bounce or wiggle. Navarro calls these happy feet.
In a conversation, pay attention to where someone's feet are pointed. If they're aimed at the exit, their limbic brain is practically screaming that it wants to leave. And hey, remember that freeze response? If someone's tapping their foot and you ask a tough question and that foot suddenly stops dead, you've just hit a nerve.
So when you start putting all these pieces together, you understand the honest brain, you look for baselines, you hunt for clusters, and you start paying attention to the lower body, you begin to develop what feels like a nonverbal superpower.
And this is why it all matters. Look, this isn't about becoming a human lie detector so you can catch people out. It's really about gaining a much deeper, more authentic understanding of the people in your life. It gives you this incredible ability to read a room, build real rapport, and just understand the truth behind the words. This is really a tool for more empathy and more awareness. When you learn to observe people more closely, you start to hear the conversation that's happening underneath the conversation. So the real question isn't just, what is everybody saying? It's, now that you know the rules, what are you going to start to hear?